This week, a scary moment for Charles. A rallying cry from Harry.
Let's unite as one through our shared resilience, proving that together we are stronger.
And a powerful message from Meghan.
I say to you, keep challenging, keep pushing, make them a little uncomfortable, because it's only in that discomfort that we actually create the conditions to reimagine our standards, our policies, and our leadership, to move towards real representation and meaningful influence over the structures of decision-making and power.
Welcome to the Royal Report, everyone. I'm your host, Sharon Carpenter, and it's been another busy week for the royal family, so let's get right to the news. Last week, we learned that William and Harry have taken another step in the ongoing division of their humanitarian work with the splitting of proceeds from the Diana, Princess of Wales Memorial Fund. The fund had previously been paid into the Royal Foundation, which William and Kate will continue to oversee. Harry, meanwhile, has asked that his share from the year go towards his HIV charity, Centre Barley, while he and Meghan continue to finalise plans for their new organisation, Archewell. And speaking of Centre Barley, Harry actually represented his HIV charity last week when he delivered a video message that was played during the opening ceremony of the 23rd International AIDS Conference. During his address, which was shared online by the conference, the Duke took a moment to speak about the importance of perseverance.
This year's theme is resilience, something all of us around the globe have understood the deep need for, specifically over recent months. And for many, digging deep to find that resilience has been a challenging experience. But for those who have been affected by HIV and AIDS, the examples of resilience within oneself and within the community has been felt and fostered for decades.
On Wednesday, People magazine exclusively reported that in the past, Meghan was frustrated by the way the palace had handled inaccurate tabloid stories. A source close to Meghan and Harry shared that the go-to position at the palace was to state no comment or simply to ignore the stories altogether. According to the source, Meghan was, quote, actively prevented from responding to stuff that we knew to be untrue. On Thursday, Charles and Camilla met with key workers at a supermarket distribution center to thank them for their extra efforts during the COVID-19 crisis. During their visit, the prince witnessed a scary moment when a man he was speaking with suddenly fainted. Take a look. After receiving medical attention, the man recovered in time to finish his conversation with the future king. So glad he was okay. On Friday, to mark what would have been the start of finals weekend at Wimbledon, Kensington Royal shared a video call Kate had with some young tennis players from the Bond Primary School in South London. While the students were certainly excited to see Kate, it's possible they were even more thrilled about Kate's special guest.
He's a former world #1. Can you possibly guess who this might be, our special guest today?
Andy Murray.
You are right. Sir Andy Murray is here to join us today.
Oh. That, of course, was two-time Wimbledon champ and knighted British citizen, Sir Andy Murray. Pretty cool, huh? On Monday, the Royal Collection Trust announced the release of a premium small batch gin that's been infused with ingredients from the Buckingham Palace garden. The spirit, which will be served at official palace events, retails for £40 and can be purchased at Royal Collection Trust shops and their website. Unfortunately, however, they're only able to ship the gin to addresses in the UK. On Tuesday, Meghan was a special guest speaker at the virtual 2020 Girl Up Leadership Summit. During her video message, the Duchess took a moment to address the importance of gender equality. Take a look.
Believing in true equality is not enough. It's going to take more than belief. We have to work for it every day, even when it's hard, even when it makes others feel uneasy. We have to speak up for ourselves, and we have to speak out for others who struggle to be heard.
That same day, Kate made a special appearance on the morning show BBC Breakfast to talk about her new childhood language and communication initiative, Tiny Happy People. During her interview, a portion of which was shared online by Kensington Royal, the Duchess spoke about how much she would have benefited from the programme's resources after the birth of Prince George.
Some of the things that the parents today, Ryan at the beginning, saying how, his baby's got 5 different cries. He's learned a huge amount from the Tiny Happy People, and it's information like that I wish I had as a first-time mum, but so many parents, it's gold dust really for families to be given those tips and tools to be able to use, particularly in these first 5 years.
And finally, last week, there was an update on Meghan's ongoing lawsuit against British tabloid publisher Associated Newspapers. Meghan's legal team filed a new motion with the High Court in London that included a strongly worded statement from the Duchess herself. Which brings us to today's guest, People Senior News editor Erin Hill. Erin, how are you doing?
Great, good to see you, Sharon.
Great to see you. So glad you're here. I want to talk to you about the latest in Meghan's legal case against Associated Newspapers, publisher of the Mail on Sunday, of course. Quick summary here. Last October, Meghan filed a lawsuit seeking damages against the British tabloid for publishing excerpts of a, quote, private and confidential letter she sent to her father, Thomas Markle, back in August 2018. Then last Thursday, People magazine was actually mentioned in Meghan's latest legal filing as a, quote, US media outlet. The Duchess is trying to stop what, according to her, is an attempt by Associated Newspapers to release the names of 5 friends who spoke to People magazine last year for a cover story. So, Erin, first let's remind our viewers about that February 2019 cover story. Broad strokes, what was it about? What did Meghan's 5 anonymous friends have to say? And how did it lead to where we are now?
Yeah, these are a group of 5 women who are make up her inner circle, and they decided to come together in February 2019 and break their silence after a couple years of not speaking out, and they wanted to stand up against what they saw was the global bullying that they were seeing that was happening to their friend, and they were especially worried as she was expecting her first child at the time, and they no longer wanted to sit back and have her endure these lies and its truths and the issues she was facing from the UK tabloids alone. It was also in this story that one of the friends revealed that Meghan had sent her father a letter a couple of months after the royal wedding. And after it was published in People, Thomas Markle, her father, then released the letter to the Mail on Sunday, who published it, which then prompted Meghan's lawsuit for alleged misuse of private information, copyright infringement, and the breach of the Data Protection Act. So that's how we got to where we are.
Yeah, and I know in that article, there's a quote, after the wedding, she wrote him a letter. She's like, Dad, I'm so heartbroken. I love you. I have one father. Please stop victimizing me through the media so we can repair our relationship, right?
Yeah, it's clear that Meghan was under a lot of stress right after the wedding. We know it was well publicized the issues she had with her father in terms of whether he was going to come to the wedding. The fact that there was the issue of the alleged staged paparazzi photos right before. So it was a time of turmoil, and she was clearly upset by the statements she was seeing in the media.
Okay, now, Erin, just to be clear here, People magazine did not publish the Thomas Markle letter in that cover story. It was only published by the Mail on Sunday, correct?
Correct. The letter was just referred to by one of the friends, but was not published by People.
All right, now let's talk about this latest filing from Meghan's legal team. Now, as we mentioned, Meghan is trying to block Associated Newspapers from releasing the names of these anonymous 5 friends, referring to this potential revealing of the names. A People Royal source close to Meghan recently said, quote, we argue that it's an attempt to intimidate the Duchess and her friends in her ongoing lawsuit against their newspaper's unlawful behavior. So, Erin, can you explain how Associated Newspapers got these 5 names to begin with, and what their position is here? Why do they want to release the names? Why do they think they have the right to?
Yeah, so the names of these 5 anonymous friends were actually provided to the judge and to the newspaper by Meghan's legal team in confidence for its defense as part of the court process. Now, those close to the Sussex legal team say that they actually heard from Associated Newspapers lawyers and were put on notice that the confidential list of names should be properly reportable by the media. And they were allegedly warned that if there was no response from Meghan's lawyers, they would assume that the names of the women were no longer confidential. Now, the Mail on Sunday spokesman issued a statement and said that they had no intention of publishing the identities, yet they maintain that that evidence is at the heart of the case, and they see no reason why the identities should be kept secret. So there is back and forth between those two teams right now, whether those names should be revealed.
Interesting. And as we said earlier, part of Meghan's filing includes a strongly worded statement from the Duchess herself. I just want to read a few lines from it. These 5 women are not on trial, and nor am I. The publisher of the Mail on Sunday is the one on trial. Each of these women is a private citizen, young mother, and each has a basic right to privacy. For the Mail on Sunday to expose them in the public domain for no reason other than clickbait and commercial gain is vicious and poses a threat to their emotional and mental well-being. Mail on Sunday is playing a media game with real lives. Powerful stuff. So, Erin, how would you sum up Meghan's position here? Why is it so important for her to protect the identities of her friends?
Yeah, I mean, this is something that she sadly knows all too well. You know, the issue of being treated unfairly and having your name out there in the press. And the last thing she wants is for these friends who spoke up to defend her to be, out there publicly. That was never the intention. She wants to protect them from a lot of the issues that she's facing herself. It's clear that while this letter is certainly at the heart of this case, Meghan has dealt with issues with the UK media since she first stepped into the royal fold as Harry's girlfriend. So this is a tough blow and something that she wouldn't want her friends to have to face.
Understandable. And finally, what's really at stake here, would you say? And has there been any talk of how the court is leaning?
Yeah, this is Meghan's chance to really defend herself against the UK tabloids. It's something that she has felt unprotected by since the beginning, and she feels like she has, a real legal stance here, and certainly her legal team does as well. And it's too early to tell where this is going to lean. She did face one pushback so far in these sort of early preliminary trials. The judge rules to strike out some of her claims following an application by the Mail of Sunday to have them removed. But that doesn't sort of set the tone for what's to come. So we're still months away from this, developing any further. Still in the preliminary stages with a lot of back and forth, setting the tone for the trial.
All right, we need to take a quick break now, but Erin, don't go anywhere because we have lots more to talk about. It's been 4 months since Harry and Meghan moved to LA. We will find out how they're doing when we return. Welcome back to the Royal Report. People Senior News Editor Erin Hill is still with us for a Harry and Meghan update. It's been roughly 4 months since they moved to Los Angeles, with Archie, of course. And I would imagine it would be a bit disappointing and incredibly frustrating to move to a new city and immediately have to go into lockdown, even if you are quarantining in Tyler Perry's $18 million mansion. We've been hearing rumors that Harry is lonely, that he's missing his friends and family back in the UK, which of course would be totally understandable. But Erin, what are you hearing about how they're really doing in their new LA life?
Yeah, like everyone else, this is a challenging time, and they've admitted it that themselves, both Harry and Meghan, in different video calls they've done, how this is such a difficult time to navigate. But Harry is even said himself that he's relishing this time with family. I mean, they get a lot of one-on-one time with Archie. I mean, normally they would be kind of out and about and busy doing outings and meeting with different organizations and away some of the time, but now that's all being done from home, remotely and on video calls. So there's a lot of great family time that they've been enjoying. Meghan is loving the fact that she's closer to friends and family, especially her mom, Doria, who she's been away from for a few years. And, being in that close comfort of her hometown, even if she can't be out in it as much as she wants to right now, would provide a comfort. And they're also kind of working really hard behind the scenes and kind of developing their next move. Of course, this would be a disappointment. They wanted to hit the ground running right after, their exit from the royal fold at the end of March. So they've had to kind of take time to take a step back and reassess their next steps.
Do you think Harry is missing home?
No, of course. I think it would be really difficult right now. I'm sure he would have wanted at some time within the past four months to go back and visit, see friends and family, but he's unable to. But we know that they've spent a lot of time on FaceTime with friends and with family, calling the Queen on her birthday, and different calls for Archie's birthday, which was recently. So it will be difficult for both of them, like it is for everyone.
FaceTime is a savior. Okay, in recent weeks, both Harry and Meghan have also been vocal in addressing the Black Lives Matter movement. Last month, Meghan gave a virtual high school graduation address where she spoke passionately about the killing of George Floyd and about the positive impact that the graduating class will have on the world. This month, Harry addressed the importance of the movement and the dismantling of institutional racism in a speech for the Diana Awards. And then together, they both discussed racial injustice on a video call with youth leaders from the Queen's Commonwealth Trust. Erin, what did these recent events tell us about Harry and Meghan's focus right now and the cultural impact they're hoping to have?
Yeah, this is all part of them figuring out the next steps for their new organization, which is called Archewell, which actually inspired Archie's name. They've been quietly focused behind the scenes on further developing this, and definitely the rapidly changing social landscape is affecting it. They've had the opportunity to speak with a lot of incredible thought leaders in the community, definitely around COVID-19 and Black Lives Matter movement, and they're figuring out how to incorporate a lot of these learnings into the future of their organization. Their move to get their voices behind these two issues, and they're excited to see it all come together. I mean, this is kind of what they've always dreamed of doing together.
Also recently, Harry and Meghan signed with the New York-based Harry Walker Agency to represent them for speaking engagements. Other agency clients include Oprah, the Obamas, Lin-Manuel Miranda, just to name a few. They're in great company there. So what do we think that this says about Harry and Meghan and how they see their future?
Yeah, this comes as no surprise. I mean, they're definitely one of their strong suits. Both of them are giving these powerful emotional speeches. We've seen glimpses of that with her, speech to her alma mater. Definitely a lot of the video calls. Harry's given so many speeches over the years, and he always brings this, kind of heart in his sleeve element to it. And now, signing with this agency is just, further showing that this is what they're going to be doing in the next phase of their work lives together. And yeah, as you mentioned, certainly in good company with a lot of these A-listers who are signed on with this company as well. And they've kind of already delved into this. We saw Harry give a speech at a JP Morgan event earlier in the year in Miami. Meghan's actually giving a keynote speech for the Girl Up Summit, which is founded by the UN Foundation, she's worked with before. It's an initiative really close to her heart about focusing on supporting adolescent girls and young women. So we're really starting to see them rev up behind the scenes with this public speaking.
All right, great stuff today, Erin. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks, Erin.
The Royal Report will be right back. Welcome back. It's time now for our social media minute with our social media correspondent, Jillian Fleischman. Jillian, how are you doing?
Hi, Sharon. I'm doing great. Nice to see you.
So what do you have for us today?
I love the post this week. Last Monday, in honor of Children's Art Week, the Royal Family Instagram story highlighted Queen Victoria's artistic skills. She started drawing lessons when she was 8 years old, and a lot of her work has survived for us to see today. She loved to paint landscapes and even sketched her own coronation in 1838. Amazing these are still in such incredible condition after all these years. Last Wednesday, the Royal Family page shared photos from the recent visit by Sophie, Countess of Wessex, to the Half Moon Windlesham pub in Surrey. She met with the pub's owners and staff to learn how the business has been affected by COVID-19, and also joined fellow members of the Bagshot Women's Institute for a catch-up. Sophie lives nearby this pub, and I love that she spotlighted a truly local business. Also last Wednesday, the Royal Family page shared Royal Collection Trust's announcement that royal residences and galleries will be reopening on July 23rd. Visitors will be able to visit Windsor Castle, the Royal Mews, and many more iconic locations, which will all have safety measures in place. Such great news. And finally, this past Friday, Princess Eugenie highlighted the World Run, a group comprised of 4 men running 240 miles from Liverpool to London in 8 days. They're doing so in support of James's Place UK, which provides life-saving support for men in suicidal crisis. The funds they raise will help open a second center for the group. What amazing work. And that's your social media minute.
Gillian, I had no idea Queen Victoria was such a skilled artist. These were really cool to see. Which piece was your favorite?
Well, one of the details mentioned in the story was that Queen Victoria loved to draw her pets. And I particularly love the one she did of her dog Dash. The sketch is also dated at the bottom, so we know Victoria drew it in 1833 when she was a young princess.
Well, I hope more of these get posted. Great stuff today, Gillian. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Sharon.
All right, now, as I'm sure all of our viewers are well aware, there's a pretty big royal birthday coming up next week. So we figured we'd start celebrating a little early with today's great moments in royal history.
The waiting is over. It's a boy, a future king, 8 pounds and 6 ounces.
On July 22nd, 2013, the Duke and Duchess of Cambridge celebrated the birth of their first son and third in line to the throne, Prince George Alexander Louis.
Very emotional.
Yeah, it's very emotional. It's such a special time. I think any parent, I think, will probably sort of know what this feeling feels like. So
It's very special.
The happy couple presented the newborn prince to the waiting crowd of reporters and well-wishers from the steps of St. Mary's Hospital, just as Diana and Charles had done with William 31 years earlier, an iconic moment which Kate honoured with a polka dot dress of her own. And in case you're wondering, yes, baby George made the cover of People.
All right, Royal Watchers, that's our show for today. Remember to follow People on Twitter to watch the latest episodes of The Royal Report, streaming every Wednesday at 5:30 p.m. Eastern. I'm Sharon Carpenter. Stay safe, keep calm, and carry on.